One MLS Aces Podcast, episode 240. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. And if you are a longtime listener of the MLS Aces Podcast, then you will recognize this voice. If you're watching on YouTube, you will recognize the face. Uncle Daddy, Sam Nelson. Sam, how are you? It's good to see you back.
It's good to be back. Thanks for having me, Tom. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here and talking soccer again. I have lots of thoughts on lots of things.
I mean, so since the last time you were on an episode, I think you're Uncle Daddy Sam Nelson now. So officially,
I think,
podcast,
Uncle Double Daddy.
Uncle Double Daddy Sam Nelson.
Double Daddy. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, my son is 3 months old yesterday now, so he's still keeping me up at night. I don't know. It's good.
Happy 3-month birthday to your son. That's always
Cheers.
Fun and exciting. We had Jason on when we interviewed Ezra Hendrickson. Jason, I told him,
episode.
And he wanted to come on for that. We had Vaughn on like 3 weeks ago, so I had to get you on, and we'll definitely. And like I said, we're gonna get all three of you guys on, rotating together. We'll see how that works out. How I figure that one out. But Sam, unfortunately, you are here to talk about some grim news around U.S. soccer this episode. It's not one of these fun episodes to start off with. Hopefully, we bring some fun at the end here for what we have planned. But I want to dedicate this episode to, I want to make sure we shed light on the life of Grant Wahl. I want to remember Grant Wahl, obviously, in the positives. So for whatever reason, if you're listening to this, you don't know who Grant Wahl is, you don't know the situation, I'd be very surprised. But Grant Wahl passed away last week in Doha, Qatar, after, and I'm going to read this off because I want to make sure I have it right, an aortic aneurysm that ruptured. Grant passed covering the 2022 World Cup, passed, doing what he loved, covering the game of soccer for the U.S. and just the world. Left is his wife, Celine, who, was one of the people in the forefront during the COVID vaccine fight and everything like that. So my thoughts and prayers, and Sam, I'll speak for you, your thoughts and prayers out to Celine, his wife, his family, everyone who's ever had the pleasure of working with him and calling him a friend or a family member, whatever it may be there. Obviously, like I mentioned, Grant, he covered soccer for just the United States in general. He's a longtime journalist and writer for Sports Illustrated. That's what I think most people probably remember him for. The biggest stories you've seen in Sports Illustrated, Grant Wahl most likely wrote, covered, had journalistic, integrity to, like, did whatever, contributed to it, whatever it may be. And really, I'm going to call him the founder of kind of covering the sport of soccer in the United States, because without Grant Wahl, I don't think I have a podcast. I don't think your favorite U.S. soccer personality is doing what they're doing without Grant Wahl and kind of the road that he paved for covering the sport here in the United States. As many people who were able to work with Grant said on social media over the past week, or have said on their own platforms, Grant was a very kind and generous person that, if you ever worked with him or you didn't work with him, you were influenced by him in some way. And like I said, every person in this country who is covering MLS, USL, the women's national team, the men's national team, just the game of soccer globally, was impacted by what Grant brought to the sport. I never personally had the pleasure to meet Grant. However, I respected what he did for the game. I respected what he's done for me. Allowed me to have this podcast where I'm talking to you guys, and then Sam, I'm talking to you, and we may never even have met if Grant never did, exactly what he was doing. So Grant, rest in peace. I wish you the best on the other side, and I hope you're watching the game from up there and enjoying every second of what this Argentina-France final is going to be, and doing what you love from the other side. Sam, I know you obviously had your own experiences with Grant, so I want to let you go into what you have.
Yeah, I when I was still in college and I was doing sports journalism as like kind of what I wish I could have done with my life. I was covering the U.S. Soccer Coaches Convention in Philly. I think it was 2018. And I won a free book, like Grant Wahl's new book about professional soccer players and the way that, like, they're all different. Like, Ronaldo's different from Messi and how, and like this, that, and like Pulisic and And I just like, I wanted on like good luck, and I went to go and pick it up, and Grant Wahl was there. So I got to talk to him about it. Like, it's a signed book. And I had like, you know, just some questions about how to get into journalism. Cause I mean, even though it was easier back then because no one was doing it, that actually made it harder for him to start covering soccer. And all I wanted to do was cover soccer professionally. And he took the time, which he didn't have to do. He could have just given me the book and said, "Screw off, kid." Like, yeah. I hope you like your free book. But no, he was really nice. And it was really awesome to get the chance to talk to someone who, although we didn't always have the same takes and we didn't see eye to eye on everything, like, you have to respect Grant Wahl and everything he did. And I really feel for his whole family. I feel bad for his wife. I don't think the term "went out doing what he loved" is the right thing, but like, he was in Qatar, he got to cover a World Cup, and it sucks he's not going to be here to cover the US World Cup. Like, that it really sucks to think about. And I'm just grateful for everything he did. And what I was telling Tom earlier is, guys, ladies, get your hearts checked. This is something that if you get it checked and they see it in time, like, you can get this fixed. So it's something that runs in my family. It's something that runs in a lot of people's families. You can get this looked at, and just routine heart scans. So it's something to think about, to add some longevity to your life. He died too young, and that sucks.
And not to downplay the point of like him as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a son, as a friend, whatever. Like, yeah, the most important thing to remember about Grant Wahl is the person he was. Again, you can go on the Cooligans, you can go on what Fox Sports, like all the commentators on Fox Sports posted, ESPN, like whatever it may be, right? Like any sports commentator, any sports person, soccer personality you can think of in the U.S. has been interacting with Grant Wahl, and they have nothing but kind words to say about just the generous person that he was. And Sam, to your point, that's a great point, right? Like, you may not ever agree with every article he's written or every take he's had, and that's completely fine. That's his job as being a journalist and throwing his opinion out there. And I'm sure, I think it's a mature thing to disagree with someone, but still call them a friend, still respect them, whatever it may be. So Grant was obviously the best at what he did. And like you said, gone too soon, and just want to definitely make sure that we talked about him and we gave him his love. And it is very sad. One of my immediate thoughts was he's not going to be here for 2026, and then that sucks to think about. But again, hopefully he'll watch and he'll enjoy and he'll cover it from the other side, right? In the best way that he could do. I said it every single time that there's a negative thing on this podcast. Don't know how to transition out of things like that. So I'm going to transition into something just as negative, or maybe just more negative, less negative. I don't know how to scale these things. I'm highly uncomfortable right now.
It's pretty negative.
Pretty negative.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks. But
I got you. I'm here to help.
We're going to talk a little bit about the NWSL scandal and kind of more reports coming out. Obviously, if you guys listen to this podcast, I talked about the Yates report a few weeks back when that dropped, and then how the NWSL went into their own private investigation around the allegations coming out around different NWSL clubs. So a report came out actually today, the 14th, if you're, yesterday, the 14th, if you're listening to this on drop day. But a report came out kind of explaining the investigation around the ongoing misconduct and abuse around the NWSL towards its players. Pretty much, I will kind of read some quotes from the report and also just throwing in my own words. But the investigation found disgusting behavior, that's my words, around head coaches and ownership around the Portland Thorns, Chicago Red Stars, and Racing Louisville FC. Also, they found continued alleged abusive behaviors around Paul Riley during his time at North Carolina Courage. Also, sections of that report were addressing behaviors around the Houston Dash, KC Current, New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC, OL Reign, Orlando Pride, and then the former clubs Utah Royal FC and Washington Spirit. Pretty much this report was kind of bringing light to ongoing misconduct, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, weight shaming, and racism around these clubs. From the report, And from the stuff that I was reading, there was no mention of the San Diego Wave and Angel City FC. I just want to also say that as well. I know these are newer clubs. They weren't around during some of the times that of the doings of what this report kind of brought to light. But pretty much, I just want to state that it's an absolute shame that in what could be the greatest women's professional league on the planet, what the NWSL could possibly bring to the game of soccer, to the game of women's soccer, and helping promote the sport in general, and helping, I think, also kind of give some light and some empowerment to women in the game. We have to unfortunately talk about these issues. We unfortunately have to talk about asshole coaches and owners and other senior members of organizations just abusing women in different degrees, right? These women soccer players should be able to show up every single day to work, train, lift weights, go eat their meals that they have to eat, right? Like your nutrition plan, go out on the field, practice, play your games on the weekends, and be a professional soccer player. Unfortunately, there's these things going on inside 99% of these organizations where they can't do that on a daily basis, weekly basis. And it's an absolute shame that these clubs aren't doing the most to protect their players and allow their players to live life as a professional soccer player. So I just think all we can do is talk about these things, bring these things to life, because the more that, we do that, we're going to push the league. We're going to push these owners to just bring a safe working environment for these players. And I think that's all we can really ask for, because once we get to that point, we can then enjoy the game of soccer. We can enjoy the game that the NWSL is bringing to professional soccer in the United States. So it's an absolute shame. We're seeing changes, though. We're seeing the Portland Thorns up for sale. Paul Riley, I know his alleged, I will say alleged because I have to, alleged abusive acts. And I know he's going to be completely out of the game, NWSL wise at least, or US soccer wise at least. So, we're seeing changes positive, but the fact that these reports and investigations keep coming up, and the fact that it's been so many teams is disgusting to me. Sam, I'll let you dive into what you want to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I have too much to say. I the first thing I read today was the apology statement from the Spirit, because obviously that's my team. I read that, and it was pretty crazy that to read. It almost felt like apologies right to the players about they're sorry for their inability as an organization to create a safe space for their players. And it's like, if there's one thing you have a job as a club to do, is be the safe space for the players that you're paying to be there,
for your employees.
You're literally your employees. Like, it's embarrassing, and it upsets me so much. And I hope, after this, these investigations have come out, that we're starting to see these changes, that we can maybe start, treating these athletes, like just humans. Like, you're supposed to treat everyone just like a human. Like, you're supposed to just treat them properly, not because they're a woman, not because they're an athlete, but because they're a human. You're not supposed to be an asshole. And it just sucks. I don't have a lot to say, just because like it's just despicable, and I hate it. And like, listening to all the podcasts about the Yates report a few weeks ago were hard to listen to, and everything that was kind of coming out. And I don't know, as the father of a daughter, like, I couldn't imagine like someone treating my daughter like that. I couldn't imagine, for the love of God, if I ever treated someone like that. Like, that'd be horrible. Like, I don't know. It's bad, and I don't like it.
No, you're right.
I don't have a lot to say. It's just bad.
No, you're right. And let me correct what I said, because you said it way better than me. I said that these ladies should be able to show up to work and do their job as a professional soccer player. These ladies should show up to work and be able to be a human being. And you said that way better than me. So I will agree to that. And that's a very good point, right?
They're humans, and they deserve better.
Anybody should be able to show up to their place of employment where they put in a hard day's work and they get paid and be treated as a human being. And that's 100% correct. It's an ugly start to the episode. I will definitely just say that with Grant Wahl.
It's a tough week.
The news coming out around NWSL, but hopefully, we can shed some light to some negative things, and hopefully, I think moving forward in this podcast episode, we can maybe bring a little bit of joy and smiles and a distraction from the shittiness of the daily news day cycle, whatever it may be. So
get ready. The rest of this episode's a doozy.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit, Sam. So
Let's
obviously, I think outside of Grant and outside of the NWSL scandal, the next biggest thing to talk about when it actually comes to soccer and what's gone on the field, or maybe off the field in this case, is the Gio Reyna, Triple G, Gregg Berhalter Twitter meltdown that happened about 40.
That definitely was not on the field except for 7 minutes.
That was maybe it was okay that it was only 7 minutes. Maybe
it was
not.
probably valid, honestly.
So if you're listening to this, you definitely know what the Twitter beef was, what the social media thing, like I'll give it a quick rundown, but first and foremost, I pretty much just want to tell everyone and tell you, Sam, I don't give a shit anymore. Like I can't give a shit. Like
you're so tired of it.
It's so dumb. It's not even the fact of like, yes, things are important. These are learning lessons. We're going to talk about maybe what's next coming from this, but all of this is so fucking dumb. The only reason why it's significant is because Twitter blew it up. That's it. That's it. And
I like to think if we were England, it would have been the tabloids. So like someone was gonna blow this up.
I saw a tweet. Someone was like, "Did the U.S. make it as a soccer
I think we've done it
country because we had a head coaching national team like disaster?" And I was like, "Yes, this is how we make it. This is how
I'll take it."
But I will run through it for people, and Sam, I'll let you give your opinion for sure. So, Gio Reyna, if you don't know who he is, 20-year-old attacker for Borussia Dortmund in the U.S. men's national team. In an article written by The Athletic, friend of the pod, Sam Stachel and Paul Tenorio, they kind of explained the lack of Gio Reyna at the 2022 World Cup that I think was, at the time, shocking to me, you, soccer fan, because of Gio's involvement in World Cup qualifying and obviously just his talent level, right? So sources confirming to Paul and Sam that Reyna showed an alarming lack of effort at training ahead of the Wales game, which included a scrimmage against Qatari club Al Ghafari SC. This lack of effort caused significant frustration within the team. That was quoted, significant frustration within the team. It was shown on camera that Reyna threw his shin guard at the Wales game, and post-Wales game caused veterans to pull him aside. I think the veterans were reported to be guys like DeAndre Yedlin, Aaron Long, and a few others. But pretty much after conversations with players and coaches, Reyna would apologize to the team. That's fine. That happens. If you look at the sense of that, Reyna is a 20-year-old. It seems like an immature act. That's why he wasn't involved, because he wasn't giving his effort to the team. Senior leaders came in, talked to him. Coaches came in, talked to him. He apologized. He grows up. We all fucked up as a 20-year-old, especially
as
a
20-year-old.
As a 20, I still do stupid shit as a 27-year-old male, and it is what it is. So that part, like, I'm fine with. Whatever. He's growing up. Hopefully, he learns from it. Like Weston, Charlie Davies. We've talked about this before on this podcast. Gregg Berhalter. So, post the World Cup at the Howe Institute for Society Summit on Moral Leadership, which is hysterical that is what he was speaking at in New York City. Gregg Berhalter spoke referencing the Gio situation, but it did not specifically come out and say it was the Gio situation. He said a player on the team. But the comment was published in to the Charter newsletter by a U.S. spokesperson, and said that the summit was supposed to be explicitly off the record. So everyone remember that when you're listening to this, that this comment was
summit. This conference he was at, no one knows what he's talking about. Got it. You got that.
Greg mentions a player, one of the 26, which I found very interesting.
Wait. And this went out in the newsletter?
But
it was off the record.
In the summit newsletter, that was explicitly off the record. Explicitly
10-4.
So Greg mentions, and this is in quotes, one of 26, which I don't know why I specifically wrote that down, but it stands out to me that you were just like this one dude. Like it was one.
Well, yeah, it sounds like it was just him.
One of 26 not meeting expectations on and off the field. He mentioned staff meetings and even having a plane ticket ready to send the player home. Gregg Berhalter continued to mention that they gave him that they were going to give him one more conversation. They did, and that the player needed to apologize to the team. Obviously, based off of what was reported by The Athletic, he did apologize to the team. People, apparently during that meeting as well, players did stand up and call him out. Conversations were had, and everyone was moving forward, right?
Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that.
But
God damn.
I'll
continue.
The last thing, because I have stuff I want to say, but referencing the last thing. After the Athletic, after the World Cup, after this explicitly off the record comment from Greg, after the Athletic article, we then get an Instagram post from Gio Reyna, pretty much coming down to he was upset that these incidents were not kept private. Completely understandable. He acknowledged his training and behavior lapses after, learning about his quote unquote limited role that was going to be during the World Cup. He did say that he apologized to the team and his coaches. So I've been giving my opinion first a lot, Sam, so I'm going to let you give your opinion first here.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm actually looking something up to confirm. Okay. I remember there being a vote. So here it is, yeah, because Jeff Carlisle said there was a vote. Taylor Twellman says no, there wasn't.
So I didn't bring up the vote because there is no straight story. There's no straight story that a vote existed. Some people said the vote did exist, but it was only with the coaches, not the team. Some people are saying there was no vote in general. People are saying there was a vote, but the vote was with the team. I think it's all kind of BS and what people want to make up to make Greg sound worse than he actually is. But that's just my take on the vote.
Yeah, Twellman's saying it was just staff who worked for Berhalter. Okay, well, yeah, that was kind of savage. So, all right. Do you want my opinion? Is that where we're at?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking that up.
It's all good.
He's 20 years old. The problem is that in this society, we are expecting this 20-year-old kid who, for 99.99% of 20-year-old kids on Earth, we are dumb. We don't know a lot, but we think we know freaking everything when we're 20. And for most of us, 99.999% of us, that consequence doesn't matter because we're 20. Now, Gio Reyna is a 20-year-old whose father was also on the World Cup roster, who is on one of the best club teams in men's football. He's got a lot of expectations. He has a lot of media training too.
He's a high profile.
He's a high profile wonder kid. He's very good at what he does. Look, I also would probably be pissed off if I was told that I wasn't going to play a lot.
Anyone would.
Anyone would. And I get that. And I think the team gets that too. Look, at the end of the day, you kind of got to play your role. You're 20. It's not your only World Cup. And then, there's no way he was never going to not come off the bench. Right? I mean, maybe. I don't know. He didn't play a lot of time. But, when he did, you kind of do what you can. Even in World Cup qualifying, he came off the bench, and he was a beast. He came off the bench against Mexico and did that crazy run that I almost scored a goal with. It's just, I don't know. It's hard. I don't really know where I feel look, I've coached a lot of youth sports before. I understand where Gregg Berhalter's coming from. I think there's a lot of valid criticisms of what Gio did, but I'm also not willing to throw Gio under the bus and say that he should never be called into the men's national team again. If anyone is thinking that, they're nuts.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with the Gio side of things before we turn to Greg.
Yeah.
Like you said, he is a 20-year-old kid. He fucked up. He learned a life lesson. This is how we grow as people, by fucking up and learning. The amount of life lessons that I've learned by doing something stupid or saying something stupid and then not doing that again is how you grow as a human being.
The media just doesn't cover our fuck ups.
Exactly, right? I don't want to part of me doesn't want to sound like the old guy yelling from the porch of
you are 7 years older than him.
I know, right? This young generation of kids, blah blah blah, right? I think every generation of kid, when you're at that age, when, you know, people, 20-year-olds in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, right? Like, I think everyone at 20 thinks they're hot shit when you're really not, thinks they know everything when you really don't. And I don't know shit and I'm 27. Like at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So I just hope that this is a learning lesson for Gio that, yes, you need to be part of a team. Teams win. Look at Morocco in the World Cup. And that in the future, whoever the manager is, whoever the head coach is, whatever the coaching staff may be, that you can work as one of the 27 or 26 to work as a group of 26, not one of 26 that excluded himself from the group. You look at how Weston fucked up, you know, during the cycle, one of our more promising players, right? You look at, you know, again, clear examples of like Charlie Davies in the past. Gio can do the same thing of you messing up, growing, learning. You're 20. Hopefully this isn't his only World Cup, and we'll see him in 2026 and beyond. That's my final take on Gio. Immature, bad act, shouldn't have done it, whatever. But Gio does have some points. So Gregg Berhalter. Sam, what are your final takes on Berhalter, I guess?
Look, it's tough to see a kid not working hard in practice. You practice like you play. If you're going to practice like shit, you're probably going to play like shit. Like, that's what I've always said when I coach kids. I don't know. At the end of the day, like, Greg, like, I can't say he made a bad call because the U.S. did exactly what was expected of them. Like, I can't say he made the wrong decision.
Can I interrupt just 1 second?
Yeah.
I don't think he made a bad decision at the World Cup. I think he did. He set a culture with this team. He set expectations with this team, and he held every single player, even what people are calling Gio Reyna arguably our most talented player. I don't believe that, but whatever. Arguably our most talented player, to those expectations. I respect.
You have to meet them.
It's what you have to do. If you want to be part of this group, this is what you have to do. If you don't, you're not going to be part of this group.
Right.
Basic any team sport. If anyone's ever played a team sport in their entire life. I don't think Gregg Berhalter fucked up at the World Cup. I think the mess up came when you brought it outside the locker room. I've always said this, and I've heard Pep Guardiola say this on one of the documentaries where they talk about the preseason. Like, you know, they go through the whole like season with them and everything like that. Like Netflix.
It's a good show.
Can't think of whatever the name is.
The All or Nothing Manchester City on Amazon Prime.
There's a quote that sticks with me from that where Pep Guardiola says, out there, he's referencing the media, out there, I will have your back every single time. In here, I'll call you out on your bullshit.
Yep.
That's what Gregg Berhalter fucked up with. He went to the media, went to a summit, whatever it may be, called a player out very specifically. Everyone was going to know who that player was going to be, called him out on his bullshit. You have to have your team's back. Because this is the part that I've seen ex-players talk about, Herculez Gomez and a few other guys. You possibly have lost the trust of the locker room by bringing the BS that you held inside, this culture, this group. We keep everything in-house. You went outside of that, and you threw it out there. So I'll just finish up by saying that's where I think Gregg Berhalter fucked up. How he handled Gio at the World Cup was fine until what he did, making those comments explicitly off the record. And to me, I would have wanted Greg back as manager before all of this. I think at this point, I'm way more hesitant on saying that. I don't think I want him back anymore. And it's not because of how he handled Gio. It's because of decision-making. And you are in the most powerful position in men's soccer in the U.S. And I think he could be done as manager of the U.S. men's national team because of this.
Yeah, I can see that. One thing. Oh, I had a really good point and I forgot it. So I don't. No. I had it while you were talking. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh, isn't this this is a problem the U.S. has had in the past where like things leave the locker room and it blows up and it's really bad. Like, the U.S. also, in general, like the U.S. we have a problem with like keeping things in the locker room versus out. Like, yeah, but I mean, we also have a problem where like players fuck each other's wives and that's a problem. It's like. I'm looking at you, Eric. But John. John Harkes, right? Like John Harkes fucked Eric Wahl's wife.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Sorry, Eric. Eric.
Eric. It's my bad. But no, like we've had a problem with this because like this happened during Bob Bradley's time too, where the locker room stuff broke out, and like it's just we gotta like that culture of keeping it in house has to. That's an important part. Like you're not seeing. I mean, you're not even seeing this from teams that really bombed out. You're not seeing the German like locker room calling out Hansi Flick right now. You're not seeing like I don't know South Korea. I don't know. They did fine. You're not like seeing this though. Like this is an American problem, and it's an American problem because in other American sports, it's not a big deal to call out your head coach. It's not a big deal for your head coach to call out like. But in soccer, it's so different, and like because especially in something like a World Cup.
In soccer, it's like 11 dudes can win you a game, not one.
Oh yeah, exactly. So like it's just I don't know. It's a clusterfuck. I think you're right. Yeah, Gregg's probably not gonna be back, and if he is, like that's kind of an issue, and he has to earn a lot of trust back because he just talked shit about one of the most promising players in American soccer right now, like just like that because he was a little pissant 20-year-old. Like I don't know, so it's not a good look for either one. But look, the 20-year-old's gonna get off a lot better than the 49 and 50-year-old.
Yeah,
how old's Gregg? Is he old?
He's in his, I think, late 40s.
He still wears J's. Like, I respect it.
He still has the bounce pass.
I still love that, like, Gareth Southgate is, like, three-piece suit, vest, all ready for the game. Berhalter's in, like, joggers and Jordans and a hoodie. Yeah. Like, I couldn't, like, it just made me so happy to watch that shit. Like,
it's so American, right? I love it.
Yeah,
like, I do love that aspect. And I love how I started off this entire conversation by saying I don't give a fuck, but I am passionate about it. Clearly. I went off.
We have to. We're Americans.
I mean, like, I'm passionate about it because it's like the people who are like shitting on Gregg for not playing Gio, I think you're dumb. For the people who are shitting on Gio for like whatever, like, yeah, like you can hold him accountable, but like he's also just a dumb 20-year-old the same way you were a dumb 20-year-old when you were 20.
But so it's a dumb 20-year-old whose best friend is Jude Bellingham. Like he's gonna be better at soccer than us.
It's just like I don't know. It is such a dumb thing when you sit back and really think about it. So let's not give it any more time unless you have anything else you want to say.
No, it is what it is. Like look, more's gonna come out about it, I'm sure. And we're going to either hear that's the reason Gregg Berhalter doesn't have the job or I don't know. Like, I doubt it. Like,
if Gregg isn't rehired, and I didn't have you prep this, so sorry, but if Gregg isn't rehired, is there a manager you'd like to see take his place in a complete fairyland world where you can have the best manager take over? Does it have to be America?
No. I don't. That's like, should an English manager be in England? Like, because obviously that's half of what I listen to online. But no, he doesn't. They don't have to be American to help if they spoke English, though, which most people do. So really, that's not a high bar to set. I don't know. Yeah. Like, I remember when after Klinsmann, I was really high on Tab Ramos, and Tab Ramos has let me down. Yeah. Josh Wolf was a member of the coaching staff for a while, wasn't he? Who cares?
He's too young.
Who was the youngest coach? Who was the youngest coach of the World Cup this year?
I'm saying young in his coaching career.
I don't care. The problem. Normally, you could hire whoever, and it's kind of like, well, it's America. We're still going to probably win the Gold Cup, probably win the Nations League. We're hosting the World Cup. We have to be really good. We have to have a very good manager.
So preferably, I would love Jesse Marsch. It's not going to happen. Jesse Marsch has said, yeah, it's not going to happen. I would like my next pick to be Jim Curtin. Like that would be next for me.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know if he makes the jump. I don't know if maybe he wants to go to Europe next, like whatever that looks like for him. Outside of that, I like it.
What about former Germany coach Jogi Löw?
I mean, I'll take.
He's won a World Cup.
I'll take it. I don't.
The dumbest thing was Twitter making rounds that they were like, you know, the U.S. was interested in Pep Guardiola and Zinedine Zidane. It's like, everyone is. No shit. Like, they're not going to get them, though. Like, something stupid.
I'll take Zidane.
I'm not convinced Zidane knows how to win without championship players.
Zidane's going to be the next French manager after they win this World Cup.
Yeah, they're not going to win the World Cup.
I don't know.
They're not going to win the World Cup.
The only managers that are American that I want to see are Marsh and Curtin. If it's not them, give me an international guy.
Seattle.
Brian Schmetzer, no.
Schmetzer, like, come on, that dude knows how to win.
You know
He's got a good system, though.
You know my stance on Brian Schmetzer.
The greatest American coach of all time.
Not top 5.
No, he's not. But
not top 5.
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I had to call that one back for the long time listeners.
I need Jason here. I think Jason agreed with me back then.
He did. So, let's go into some of the MLS moves, and then we'll get into the fun part of the episode. So. Quickly,
we're not having fun yet. Oh shit! Hell yeah, we're gonna have fun later.
No fun.
Not in this league.
So this is the no fun league. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Wrong sport. So let's talk some of this MLS signings. This is an MLS podcast. Let's dive into it. So I really have 4 or 5 signings I want to talk about heavily. Then I'll run through some of the other ones quickly. We don't really have to talk about it. But Gyasi Zardes, I think, is the biggest kind of transaction over the past week. Free agent Gyasi Zardes signed to Austin FC. The 31-year-old striker is heading down south. 2-time MLS Cup champion, one with the Galaxy, one with Columbus Crew, 68 USMNT caps. He has 94 goals in MLS action in his career. And, I think it's weird to say, but I think arguably when you're looking at all-time goal scorers in this league, he has to be up there in one of the more respected ones. Especially even if you're looking at the active ones, I think he has to be up there as well. So I will hold off on my opinion because it's not a popular opinion about this move. But Sam, what's your take on Gyasi Zardes to Austin FC?
Right, people don't like Gyasi Zardes, do they?
No,
they still don't like them.
Yeah, people make fun of Gyasi.
People are like, because he was like getting all the minutes under Gregg at the beginning because Gregg knew him, he knew his system. It's like, I don't want to hear it. Here's where I'm at as I look through like goal scorers. Who's he like between? Except the cookies. And no, look, I don't like Gyasi Zardes. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good goal scorer. I think there he is, number 13th all time in MLS goals.
Crazy.
Jesus, who's he between? Look at that. He's 4 goals behind Joseph Martinez. Joseph Martinez is good. You kind of forget about that. Yeah. Man, Joseph Martinez has played 134 games and has 98 goals. Gyasi Zardes has played 264 and only has 94. Slacker. Jeez.
He did play right back for the Galaxy.
Okay, oh my God, you're right. I forgot about that. All right, that's impressive. Anyway, that's right. He's number 13th all time. That's impressive. Third among active goal scorers in MLS.
I mean, you got to take
That's pretty good. Like, look, if you can get him and Austin, wants to get some extra goals in, like give Gyasi a break, like give whoever their other strikers are a break. Like, you got a guy off the bench, you got a guy who can start some games. Like, look, I don't think there's anything wrong with this move. I think this is a solid move. Like, take on his contract, let him play, have a good time. Like, they were a fun team to watch last season. I don't doubt they're going to be the same this year. Like, it's going to be a fun game.
So I agree. I think if you can make the move, you do it, right. And I think that's the part that I will stick with. I will agree with. I think
that's the biggest part about MLS is like you need guys who already are good in the league.
Exactly. And I think if you can add Gyasi Zardes, the top 15 all-time goal scorer in the league, currently top 3 of active players, you add that dude to your roster, especially on a non-DP contract. You add that dude to your roster, 100%. My thing is everyone's saying, like, obviously Austin's biggest weak point is their striker. Is it Maxi Urruti? Is he going to stay hot for a season? Most likely not. Is it Musa Jite, who we saw some flashes of in the playoffs, but is he going to be consistent? I like Zardes better than those 2 guys. I think Zardes is your starter on this team. I just don't think Zardes comes in and all of a sudden becomes that dominant goal scorer that's going to put Austin FC like over over what we saw from LAFC last year, right? I think if you put Zardes in that Western Conference final at starting striker against LAFC, I still think Austin loses that game in the same fashion that they do. I like Gyasi Zardes. I respect him. And I think you make the move when you can. I just don't think this puts Austin on another level where I think some people online that I've seen and some opinions that I've seen are saying that this does. Austin's really not good in the back. Sure, you had a striker. Now maybe put some money on the back line. So again, I think you have to do it. Do it. Gyasi, I like him. I think he'll score 11 goals next year, especially with the Diego Fagundes and Druisi, feeding them. I don't absolutely fall in love with this move when I see it because of just other concerns that I have with Austin FC. Anything else you want to say about this move before we move on?
Gyasi's a fun guy. He's a fun guy to play. Look, he is. He's a fun guy to watch play. And so that's gonna be fun as a someone who really enjoyed watching Austin last season. Just another fun guy on the team. That's cool. Look, and even if it's a move to sell some jerseys and you have a new starting striker, he's 31 years old. You got him for 2 years and run him down and get him scoring some goals. I'm fine with it. Look, like you said, they're not going to win MLS Cup based on this move.
No.
But they have to maintain, being the second best team in the Western Conference. And to maintain, you have to add pieces, add more guys who can put the ball in the net, and they did that. So.
Fair. That's 100% fair. Let's leave the West. Let's go to the East. Toronto FC, they re-sign their all-time appearance leader, Jonathan Osorio, the 30-year-old central midfielder, is a TFC lifer and it looks like he will officially be a TFC lifer after this contract. The Canadian men's national team midfielder has 59 caps. We saw him play in this World Cup over this winter. I just have to say, I love this move. I'm an NYCFC fan, and would I love Jonathan Osorio on NYCFC? 100%. I think any team in MLS would love Jonathan Osorio in their midfield. But there's just certain guys that you just associate with certain clubs. There's Chris Wondolowski. I associate him with the San Jose Earthquakes. It's just there's just Justin Morrow. I associate with Toronto FC. Jonathan Osorio is Mr. Toronto FC. He's Mr. TFC. I would be devastated if I didn't see this man in a TFC jersey every single MLS season he's going to play. The only way I would accept it is if he wanted to potentially test Europe at the end of his career and go over for a few seasons. So I'm happy to see Osorio back for TFC. I like what Bob Bradley's potentially building there, and I think you center it around Osorio and what could be worse, or what could be better.
I think you're right. I mean, he's someone that any guy would want on their team, and he's good. He's consistent. That's the best part. Is he's a very consistent player for the national team and for Toronto. And why wouldn't you want someone in the middle of your midfield who is going to be great for you day in day out, a 7 out of 10 player no matter what?
Exactly.
That's good. You want that.
He's the type of dude who I can feel like they could give a head coaching to at TFC 2 after his playing career, or something like that, right? Where he joins as an academy coach, and this is he has 318 appearances for Toronto FC and he's 30 years old. This is what you want to aspire to when you go from our academy to TFC 2 to TFC, right? This is what you want to do. Yep. This is the guy coaching you. I love stuff like that. Let's move on to maybe some interesting transactions. Let's start with Kevin Cabral. So the LA Galaxy trade Kevin Cabral to the Colorado Rapids for $1 million in general allocation money. This opens up a DP spot for the Galaxy, but there are reports that the Galaxy are going to be paying 50% of Cabral's salary for the next 3 years. So pretty much the Rapids, who very rarely acquire DPs,
do anything,
just got a DP for half off for the next 3 years. So wild there. The 23-year-old forward has 8 goals and 9 assists in his 68 games for LA since coming over from Ligue 2 over in France. Sorry, hit the mic there. So Interesting move. I don't know if Kevin Cabral is worth $1 million in GAM. I'm going to say no. Kevin Cabral is a dude who gets into dangerous spot after dangerous spot after dangerous spot. He will make a back line sweat. But when you get to that final ball that needs to go into the back of the box, into the back of the net, you get that final ball that needs to be played into the center of the box. Unfortunately, last year he was not that guy. So I don't know if Cabral's worth $1 million. That shocked me $1 million. I know Colorado wants to get younger. I know Colorado needs attacking help, but I'm going to pull a Randy Jackson and say that's not for me, dog.
That's a good. I like that. Yeah, I don't know if it's like the best move, but it's one of those things that Colorado's like 3 or 4 years behind the league usually in terms of what they do, and when they still make the playoffs and look good, like that's awesome.
Yeah.
But they seem to just kind of be like pedaling their way through. And like, look, Robin Fraser is going to have, a very serviceable man up front, like, and that's good because they need someone. But yeah, is he going to do the job? I don't know, but he probably needs maybe. I don't know, like to sound like all the idiots that like just do this for a living, but like maybe he needs to change the scenery. Maybe you go to Colorado, and like some people just thrive up there. There are some players that thrive in Colorado or in like Salt Lake, like they just do. And so maybe he goes there and he's like, this is just where I'm meant to be. And that's very possible. And maybe Colorado, talked with him beforehand and kind of knows that this is where he wants to go. Maybe they've got a good game plan for him, but until we get about halfway through the season, see how it's looking.
Yeah,
I'm not totally convinced that spending $1 million in GAM was the best move.
We'll politely leave it at that for Kevin Cabral's sake.
We'll wait until July.
Wait until July. I'll have you back on in July just to talk about.
We'll just talk about that. Yeah, that works for me.
The final move that I really want to talk about, and then I'll ask your opinion of some DC stuff, is George Campbell. If you guys don't know who George Campbell is, he was a homegrown center back that came up through the Atlanta United system. Atlanta United just traded him to CF Montreal for $600,000 in general allocation money. There's also $300,000 in general allocation money that could come in incentives later on. There's also a sell-on percentage that I confirmed with Tom Bogert. Bogert he didn't know the sell-on percentage. Roughly with inter-MLS trades, I've seen a 10% sell-on fee. I'm not saying that that's what happens here. It's just something that I've generally seen is 10% sell-on fees. Again, 21-year-old center back. He's come up through the Atlanta United system, 38 games for the first team, 60-plus games in total when you count his Atlanta United 2 games. He's a US U20 international. Super talented young center back. He got a bunch of games last year due to all the injuries on the Atlanta United back line. I really am high on George Campbell. I think for a Montreal organization that does a good job at selling players to Europe, that does a good job at building relationships, whether it's through, obviously, the owner of Montreal is the owner of Bologna in the Serie A, and other kind of just European club connections that they have. Like years ago, they sold Blue Tabla to Barcelona B. People forget about that, right? Like
I did forget about that.
They do a good job. And someone called me out on Twitter when I said, this is going to be good for George Campbell because hopefully this will get his move to Europe faster because of CF Montreal's like just excellence at selling players to Europe.
They are good at it.
And the guy called me out and he was like, just because they've had 3 sales in 2 months doesn't mean Montreal is a good team at selling. I was like, Blue Tabla to Barcelona B in 2018, and I just went down a list of players from that season.
You can that's the thing. Like they've got it.
And even if they're not selling players, like they build relationships. Safir Taider from Bologna, they bought him and then sold him to the Middle East, right? Like there's just so many different options that Montreal have been able to do. And that's just going to be good for George Campbell. The sell-on fee is going to be good for Atlanta. It's going to be good for Montreal because they continue to churn out players to Europe. So I really like this move. I'm high on George Campbell. Like I said, I think he should be and could be a starter for Montreal, dependent on whoever the head coach is, because we're still waiting on that news.
Jeez, I forgot about
that. I really like the move for all parties here.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's a good move for a young center back who's going to play a whole lot in Montreal, and that's a good up and coming team who's also not just good at, with moving players to Europe, but they're good at promoting young players and getting them minutes.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that you want. Like teams like Atlanta like do that, but they also like they're all about those flashy signings. Like Montreal isn't making a flashy signing as often. They're trying to promote from within. You're going to get lots of minutes if you're George Campbell. Even if you're not the starter, you're going to be one of the first center backs off the bench. You're going to be that guy who's doing most of the spot starts. Like he'll be good, especially as it's so. How old is he? 20?
21.
20. Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He gets a year or two under his belt there. He'll be fine.
He has a long career ahead of him.
Yeah, it's a great move for him.
Exactly. Right. Like, I mean, we saw Lewis Binks, who was a young English center back.
You're a big fan of Lewis Binks.
I love Lewis Binks. I've been following him since Montreal sold him. So came out of the Tottenham system. He was a free agent. I think Montreal bought him on or signed him on a free. He played a season and a half there, not even a full season and a half. And, I know the ownership's the same, but Lewis Binks got moved on to Bologna. I think he's a starter for Bologna right now. I'm a big fan of Louis Binks. I'm happy for him. And another example of Montreal just moving players on. Sam, I'll give you some time if you want to talk about DC's two signings. For those who don't know, Alex Bono went to DC, and they also signed left wing back Mohamed Gyasi from Hammarby in Sweden's top flight. He's maybe the more interesting person to talk about. You don't have to go super in depth, but if you want to chat,
he's going to be a big deal to Wayne Rooney's offense. Really, I mean, he's from what I know, and I don't know a lot about Wayne Rooney, but from what I can tell based on the few games I've watched, and who knows what's going to happen in this offseason, Wayne Rooney could completely change how he wants to play.
Yeah.
But from what I know, he wants the wingbacks to progress with the field and be a part of that attack. And so to have someone there who is good at carrying the ball and can get the crosses in, like, this is the right signing for a team that had one left back for most of last year because Brad Smith got injured.
I was going to say Brad Smith was on the roster, but he was.
Yeah, but he broke his leg, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, so he was done. And then they sold Kevin Paredes mid-season, or at the beginning of the season to Wolfsburg. So like they were down like good talented guys on the left. So to bring someone in, very good move to me. Alex Bono is also a good move. I'm sorry, here you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say about Gyasi, just to kind of throw in more context for the listeners, 25-year-old Iraqi international left wing back.
Yep.
He was born in Sweden, but I think split dual national, right, between Iraq and Sweden. 83 careers. This is a stat that I found pretty good for a left wing back. 83 career games in the Allsvenskan, Sweden's top flight. Pretty good European league, right? You're not top league. Five, but Anton Tinnerholm came from the Allsvenskan before he came over, and look at what he was in Major League Soccer. But Gyasi had 4 goals and 18 assists in his 83 games. 18 assists in his career coming from the left wing back positions. Pretty nice. This dude, I think, can put in a good ball.
Yes.
I've seen a few highlights of him. I think he's a very good passer, so DC fans should be excited there. But sorry, go ahead about Alex.
He excites me a lot, and I assume he's going to be our starter on the left. Yeah, Alex Bono, like, look, Bill Hamid's gone. That's just one. I haven't been on the podcast to do my eulogy of Bill Hamid, but like, gonna miss that man.
I'll give you time.
I didn't prepare for it. So I would have like my speech and like drop like 8 note cards about how much I love Bill Hamid. I'm a big fan. Yeah, just get some tears in my eyes. But no, I love Bill Hamid, but he's gone. I don't really know what's happening there. I don't think he's officially retired. He's technically a free agent in MLS, right?
Yeah.
That sucks. He definitely doesn't like the way DC's going.
So I will say this about Bill Hamid. I may have an insider. I may have a source or two. I'm not in the source game. I'm not Tom Bogert. I'm not any of these guys.
I probably agree with what you're saying.
Let me just pull something up real quick. So I have like one source. That's all I got in my life at this point, and I've done the.
Why is my only source in Columbus? Like, I have one source. I live in DC, but like my source is in Columbus, so I know like crew things ahead of time, which does not help me.
I don't think Bill Hamid is done playing soccer. That's all
I don't think Bill Hamid's done playing soccer either. But he's done with DC.
I think he has quite a few more years before he hangs up the gloves.
I'm hip. That excites me, and I'll probably buy a jersey from wherever he goes. However, Bill Hamid's done in DC. I can tell from the way he posts on Instagram about the club. I think that man just does not care.
And he went
and that's fine.
On Twitter too. I did notice that.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, he so that worries me about the club because he was the first homegrown, I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah.
Like he was the guy. So that sucks. So RIP Bill Hamid from DC. I can't wait to watch you apparently have many, many more years. I'm looking forward to that, sources say. So then we had we've had a carousel. We had Ochoa, who we didn't re-sign.
Who he didn't come to terms. He's down in San Luis in Liga MX, I think.
Right.
You guys have Rafael Romo. Rafael Romo's not great. You signed Tyler Miller and now Alex Bono.
Look, Tyler Miller would have been the signing to talk about too. Like, I love Tyler Miller and I love Alex Bono. Like, they're just those are two solid shot stoppers.
You can give me your DC goalkeeper take. It doesn't have to be Alex Bono.
Okay, so here's where I'm at. Tyler Miller is a really good signing, and Alex Bono is going to be a really good backup, probably.
I would assume
so too. I think Tyler Miller, coming from Seattle, getting picked up in the expansion draft by LAFC to become a starter that no one thought should have happened, and to be a very good starter for a few years. I don't think he was the reason that like they weren't winning MLS Cup. I think the team for some reason thought they were, because then they brought in Kenneth Vermeer to replace him, who then went out. Like,
love it.
I'm just saying. So trade Tyler Miller to Minnesota, who then like. He was good up there, and then all of a sudden you've got Dane St. Clair coming in, like, and that's just a Canadian international stud. It's kind of bad luck. Like, look, Tyler Miller going to DC, he's gonna be the starter. Like, that's where we're at. Like, and I think that's good for him to know going in that he's going to be the starter. But now he's competing with a very solid, consistent MLS goalkeeper who was he the backup the year Toronto won MLS Cup, or did he win MLS Cup? Toronto has like way too many consistent goalkeepers for me.
I know Clint Irwin was a starter for one of Toronto's.
That's right. I think Bono was the this is interesting.
I'm going. You can keep talking.
So look, Alex Bono is still a good goalkeeper. He's got 26 shutouts in MLS, like, and 129 games. Like, he's really good. He's got almost 1,200 or 12,000 minutes under his belt. Like, that's someone you want between the sticks in your cup games in the US Open Cup. That's who you want in your random Wednesday night against Houston. That's just that's for me. That's like, when I think of those random like July games that like no one wants to watch, it's like a Thursday night against Houston. It's in Houston and it's hot as fuck. That's what I think about. Like, no one's going to Montreal on a Thursday night in July. You're going for some reason. We're all playing in Houston that night. Like, that's just how it is. So that's what I think.
Alex Bono has he was an MLS Cup champion in 2017, supportership champion in 2017, and a 4-time Canadian Championship winner with Toronto FC.
That one means a lot less to me.
I mean, it does, but
there's literally 3 teams competing.
No, we got CPL now, bro.
Like I said, there's 3 good teams competing. There's 3 teams with a whole fuck ton of money competing against CPL.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, now you've got an MLS Cup winning goalkeeper backing up Tyler Miller, which I still think should happen. He should be backing up Tyler Miller. That's really good. Honestly, Wayne Rooney's bringing in guys who have won things before, which is good. And I don't know, the team's still not going to be great. Like, maybe the tickets will be cheaper. I don't know.
Sam, I didn't get to congratulate you on your wooden spoon, so I will say that. So congrats, man.
Thank you, thank you, folks.
gonna-
I'll be here to hang out all week. I've got it upstairs.
I'm gonna run through a few more MLS signings. And
Yes,
then
please.
We'll get into the final part of the episode.
I forgot they were a wooden spoon winner. Jesus, it's so nice to watch soccer that's not MLS sometimes because you forget that DC sucks.
We're not going to talk about any of these signings. We're just going to run through them quickly.
All
Houston signed Achara off after picking him in the second round of the waiver draft. Austin FC have re-signed a many-time MLS Cup champion, veteran fullback Hector Jimenez. Minnesota United has signed MLS veterans Arik Valentin and Doniel Henry. San Jose Earthquakes, they re-signed Judson. Colorado Rapids, they re-signed Stephen Beitashour for the 2023 season. I
like re-signing Stephen Beitashour though. Like that's just
he brings
solid.
veteran. Yeah, he brings veteran leadership to the locker room. For sure.
He's not fast, but boy, is he a leader.
Yeah, and he is a good defender, obviously.
He is a good defender. Yeah.
The last piece of news that I want to say before we get into the even funner part, is that better? The even funner part of the podcast.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Is Thiago Almada, Atlanta United's midfielder, becomes the first active MLS player in a World Cup final. So shout out Thiago
I love
Almada.
that.
So shout out Argentina. I'm rooting for Argentina personally.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, if it was Morocco, it'd be different. But France had to go and ruin that shit for him.
I just want to see Messi win. That's all I want.
I think that's what most of us want.
So,
the best player in the world. We want him to win a World Cup for once.
I texted Sam a few days ago talking about what we're going to talk about, everything like that. We wanted to have a little bit of fun and finish things off with obviously the U.S. men's national team eliminated from the 2022 World Cup, and obviously, like we mentioned before, in 2026.
Man, I've been working too much.
In 2026, the World Cup will be hosted in North America. The U.S.
Can't wait to go to games with you.
I got Boston, Philly, the stadium 10 minutes from my house, MetLife in New Jersey. I got Philly. I live
in the nation's capital, and I have Philly.
That's fine. Hey, just make the drive out to Philly, bro.
I'm going to. I'm going to at least 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't go to at least a game, I'll be very disappointed in myself. But okay, sorry. Whatever.
Sorry. Anyway,
so 2026.
This is why you don't have me on very often.
2026, we are hosting the World Cup here between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. We named 3 cities that are hosting games. We decided to have a little bit of fun and predict right now in December 14th of 2022 what our 2026 roster is going to look like. I'm going to preface this. This is for fun. This is going to be completely wrong. And I think
I disagree. I'm
in
all
2026, if we remember to do this, if the MLS Aces podcast is still existing,
4 years,
we are going to bring this up and talk about this.
Oh, yes.
The only rule that I kind of just justified with Sam was that we need 3 goalkeepers on the roster. That's the only rule. You can make the roster look however you want, any aged player you want, but what you think the realistic 26-man roster is going to look like. So,
realistic. Oh shit! I really didn't put enough. I didn't put enough like halfway old guys, but the problem is in 4 years, that's like our generation is like those guys that would still make the World Cup. And that's literally like the lost generation of U.S. soccer. That's like Bobby Wood, and that's about it.
So I will say,
so we don't have those guys.
DeAndre Yedlin, bro. I will say this:
he's 29 this year, isn't he?
Is he? Oh, never mind. Whatever. I will say
33.
I only have 2 people aged 30 and up on my roster, so maybe
I don't have a lot of
either.
I definitely am in that fucking same boat as you. This is gonna be fine. I'm a very youth positive. When I play Football Manager, I sign the Wonder Kids. I don't build a fucking old team. So get ready, baby.
11 Wonder Kids.
We're going to win it all in 2026.
So let's start with the goalkeeper since we each have at least 3.
I did at least 3.
You might have like 5. I don't know. But
I still have to make 2 cuts to my roster.
So it's starting with the goalkeepers okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
are we going to try to like combine this into like one team and like we can like justify this, or are we each going to have 2 teams?
We're going to have 2 teams. We'll see where we agree and we'll have some fun.
Are we posting this like on Twitter?
I could if you want.
I'm not gonna win. So.
No, we're not doing that. There's no winners. Just
all right.
All right.
We should definitely post it on Twitter.
I'll post it on Twitter. So my goalkeeping group looks like this. I picked 3 goalkeepers. Let's see where we agree and disagree. My starter was Matt Turner, who would be 32 years old come that
Perfect.
time. My backup is I put this maybe now looking at it, I don't know if I agree. My backup is 22-year-old goalkeeper Gaga Slonina.
That is also my backup.
My third string goalkeeper is not Stefan. It's not Horvath. I selected current FC Cincinnati goalkeeper.
Oh, I thought we were going to have the same guy again.
Who would be 26 at the time, Roman Celentano. He would be my third string goalkeeper.
Okay.
I liked it. So you had Turner and Gaga. Who was your
Turner and Gaga? And my third string, it's got to be the locker room guy, right? Because like growing up, our locker room guy was
Ramondo.
Nick Ramondo, right? So to me, this is an MLS veteran who's just good, but like is never going to be your starter, and that's JC Marcinkowski in 4 years.
I like it. I'm a big JC Marcinkowski fan,
and I think he's good enough to be our third string goalkeeper.
So I'm okay with it. The only other guy, obviously, right? Like Stefan will be in his 30s. Horvath will be in his 30s.
We'll see where they're at. Like they gotta be playing more.
I mean, exactly. And in a bigger league, in my opinion. But the only other guy who I thought of is a current MLS guy as well, Drake Callender from Inter Miami. I really like Drake Callender.
Right.
I think he could kind of blow up like Roman Celentano. I just went with Celentano over Callender, but that was my pick. Okay, so I don't know how to really do this, but do you want to list off your fullbacks?
My fullbacks. Yeah, I can do that. This is really my mind was really jumbled. 2.5. Oh, I have more than that. I really tried to be proper with my fullbacks. I picked starter, 2.5. I assume you have like.
I went starter, backup, and then one dude who kind of just plays up and down one side. That's
4.5.
Sorry. I meant I
was like, how do you only have 2 fullbacks for an entire roster?
I went 4.5.
So you have 4.5.
4.5.
Gotcha. Great. I don't know if I do. So yeah, that's fine. You want me to list first?
Yeah.
Anthony Robinson.
I have him.
Serginho Dest.
I have him.
And Joe Scally.
I have Joe Scally as my backup right back, yes.
Yeah. And this one's gonna hurt because I hope it's right. Sam Vines.
Oh, I do not have Mr. Samuel Vines.
And those are my only fullbacks. I could see because Sam Vines is doing fine post injury in Antwerp. I said fine, not good.
I know he had a shot for this World Cup when Berhalter called him in and
I didn't think he should have actually been called in yet.
He played like shit, but whatever. He's coming off an injury.
But I thought he had a fine Gold Cup where he he was also doing the transition to Europe at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this kid just needs to get settled somewhere and figure it out. And so I think he was a very good MLS fullback. I think he can figure it out in Europe in 4 years.
He's starting left back on the best team in Belgium right now, or this season. So I can't complain about that. He's going to be in the picture. I hope he turns the corner and gets adjusted and goes to bigger leagues and whatever. But as of right now for this roster, I also had Anthony Robinson at 29, who would be 29. I also had Serginho Dest, who would be 26. I also had Joe Scally as my backup right back, who would be 23. My other 1.5 fullbacks, my backup left back, I have current New York Red Bull left back John Tolkien.
That's a good one.
He would be 24.
I thought he was Canadian for some reason.
No, bro, mullet was American.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. That's actually a good shout. I like that.
John Tolkien,
he's fun.
Highly respected in the Red Bull system across Europe too. So I think he'll be moving sooner rather than later. But I like him as the backup left back. And then my half, you mentioned him before on this podcast, Kevin Paredes.
Oh, that's a fun one. I was debating Kevin Paredes. Also, when he's been playing for the youth national teams, I've been looking this up. He's been playing as a left wing forward.
Yeah.
not as a. So I guess that's a good half, actually.
So he can play like a little left wing back. He plays left
Yeah.
wing for the youth national team. He mainly plays left wing back for Wolfsburg, but
Yep.
like he plays left wing a little bit too. So he's my half. He was literally man 26 for me on this roster. I'll be honest. He was my final person.
That's a good shout, though.
So Robinson, Tolkien, Paredes, and then on the left, and then on the right, Destin Scally. I'll dive into my center backs if you're okay
Great.
with that.
No, that's good. I made my 2 cuts, so I'm ready now. I've actually got 26, but I do want to talk about my 2 left off.
That's fine.
So,
I'll talk about anyone close too.
Right.
So I have 4 center backs on this roster. Okay. I went with, and the ages I'm throwing out is what they're gonna be in 2026. So I went with 29-year-old Miles Robinson.
Yeah.
I went with 26-year-old Chris Richards. I went with 28-year-old Austin Trusty, and I went with 28-year-old Cameron Carter Vickers.
Oh, we've been hitting 3 for 4, Tom. I love this. Cameron Carter Vickers is only going to be 28?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I didn't realize. I thought he was older than that. That's a good shot, actually.
That group of 4, I think, is solid if they're
very Austin Trusty's killing it at Birmingham City.
Yeah,
absolutely destroying.
Arsenal might have got a little diamond in the rough there.
Yeah, I don't like that as a script.
All right, so who were your center backs?
So I had Miles Robinson, number 1, easy, number 1.
Yep.
Our best shutdown defender, Chris Richards, Austin Trusty, and Justin Che.
Ooh, Che's
going to be tough because he's not playing right now. But I mean, he's already in Europe
division of.
Yeah, but he's already there. Like I think
he's young though.
Yeah, he's like 19 or 18.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't do ages, so I really don't know.
Che was on my I made like a 40-man provisional roster, and then I cut it down. So Che was on the provisional roster.
This is why you're awesome, Tom.
That's why I have no life.
That's not true. You're on Twitter.
That's life. That's
life.
All right. So
that excites me a lot. Okay.
You said you had close calls though. Is there any center backs?
I had close calls. No, my close calls was 1 midfielder and a forward.
Okay, we'll get to them. So I'm sticking with when I created my lineup, I stuck with the Gregg Berhalter 4-3-3,
right?
The double pivot and the 1 in front. That's what I stuck with. So my midfield is gonna be I selected 2 D mids and I selected 4 center mids. So I'll let you go if you want to go through your midfielders. I don't know if you have specific D mids you want to start with.
I have just 6 midfielders. I do technically have D mids, but I think they're mostly D mids.
I have 6 midfielders too, so read through your 6 and we'll see.
This is fantastic. All right, where I did better than I thought. I was really worried I was going to screw this up, Tom. All right, Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, captain, my captain. Tyler Adams is my USMNT captain. Weston McKennie. Yeah. Yunus Musa.
Yeah.
And then we start moving down. This one is going to be an interesting one. Johnny Cardoso, currently playing for Internacional in Brazil, but very highly rated and is supposedly getting eyed up for a move to Europe soon, but a good defensive midfielder. So that's Johnny's on my list.
Okay.
My other defensive midfielder this is going to be an interesting one because I've always been high up on this player and there's no reason for me to be, but I want him to make this roster and you're not going to guess him. And that is Danny Leyva.
Okay.
Danny Leyva is like a sick D mid.
I think Obed Vargas is a call over Danny Leyva if we're going to go Seattle homegrowns.
I don't know. I really like Danny Leyva. I've just always been a fan of him. And then my last one is Gianluca Busio.
Okay, so we got 3 of our 6 midfielders similar. Gianluca Busio,
the 3 starters from the World Cup. Yeah,
Gianluca Busio was on the provisional roster. Johnny Cardoso was on the provisional roster. Okay. I had Obed Vargas on the provisional roster just because he started for Seattle in a CCL final and played well against.
I mean, that's a really good point.
I like him a lot. So my starting D mid was Tyler Adams. My backup at 31 years old was Kellen Acosta. I think you
God, I always forget how young Kellen Acosta is, too. Kellen Acosta is hard. Wait, how old am I going to be in 2026?
I'll be 30.
I'll be 32.
No,
Shit, I'll be 32.
31. I'll be 31.
Yeah, I'm still young enough to make a roster.
I feel
that's
good.
how I'm going to keep telling myself. Like, I'll be fine.
So Tyler Adams would be 27. Kellen Acosta would be 31. Weston McKennie would be 28. Eunice Musa would be 24. It's fucking ridiculous.
That's the most insane thing is how young Eunice Musa is and how much of a beast he is.
One midfielder you didn't name, I don't know if you consider him a midfielder, so maybe we hold off, is Brendan Aronson.
I consider him a forward.
Okay, that's fine.
That's the problem. Because Gio's considered a midfielder / forward too.
Yeah, I get it.
I put him under forward. So Brendan Aronson is also a forward for me.
Okay. So Brendan Aronson made my midfield. He would be 26. So that's my 5. And then my 6. This one was on the border for me. And I think this might be a little recency bias because of how well he's been playing. But he would be 25 at the time. Tanner Tessman.
Oh, he made my he was my second cut.
Okay.
Tanner Tessman's free kick was sick the other day.
He's out playing Gianluca Busio apparently right now in the Serie B.
100% he is.
So I went with Tessman over Busio. That's pretty much how I made my decision.
So Busio plays more defensively too, and Tessman's more of like a box-to-box guy.
Yeah.
So depending on what you want, I do agree. Like Tessman was it was between him and Busio. I was like, oh, who would I rather take? Probably Busio, but Tanner Tessman's playing really good right now.
So Tessman was one of your 2 cuts. I'm glad I got him in. I'm glad I got him.
There we go. That's good. I like this. Is fun. This is a lot of fun right now.
All right, let's go to the forwards.
This is where it gets ugly.
I have 4 wingers. You have 4 wingers.
Wingers 1, 2. Technically, yeah, I guess 4.
Okay.
4 that I would consider wingers.
I have 4 wingers and 4 strikers. So I'll go. Okay. I don't know why I picked 4 strikers.
We're gonna play a 4-2-4 from now on.
So I'll go through my wingers and you tell me if you have them or not. So I mean the wingers were pretty fucking easy. It's Christian Pulisic.
No, not gonna make my roster.
Christian Pulisic.
He only has 1 ball. What am I supposed to do?
I know it's crazy, right?
It's crazy, yes.
Pulisic,
all right, Pulisic, yeah. Okay.
He'd be 28. Gio Reyna.
This is the perfect time for us to be getting a World Cup.
Gio Reyna, who would be 24. Timothy Weah, who would be 26. And this is my 4th winger that, I feel like this is maybe where we differentiate. Georgi Mihailovic, who would be
he's on my list too.
28 years old.
Yes, sir.
So that was our we nailed the 4 wingers.
Yeah, but I guess I also have Brendan Aronson as a winger, so I guess I have 5 wingers. But yes, 100%. I also have Jordan Mihailovic on my list.
Okay.
So I think I love it. He would have made the World Cup roster if he wasn't injured this year.
And Mihailovic can play in the midfield as well.
Yes.
So we had Brendan Aronson, Mihailovic, midfielder, winger.
Yeah, and Gio can play in the midfield too. It just kind of depends on what you want to do.
Versatile. That's what we are. So
versatile.
I also have, I don't know why I picked 4 strikers, but I couldn't leave these 4 guys at home in this meaningless world.
I have a couple. Yeah, I have a couple. Yeah, it's fine. I have 3.
Okay. So you want to list your 3?
Yeah, I'm going to start with Ricardo Pepi, the man who should have been on the plane.
Yeah, I have him.
I'm just going to start with that. Florian Balogun, who will join the USMNT. I swear to God. Otherwise, I'll be really
upset. Told you in my FM save,
yes.
Florian Balogun picked the United States and baller, just absolute baller. He won me the French league. So
yeah. On my FM 22 save, he is the all-time U.S. men's national team goal scorer. He's scored so many goals. So I want him to be our guy.
So I didn't pick him because of he's publicly said he wants to try to play for England before the
not happening, bro.
So I didn't pick him for this roster, but if I had him, I would pick him. So yes, fine.
Yeah. To me, in terms of a dual national, he's the one I want next.
Yeah, I agree. So you have Pepi and Balogun.
And I have I don't want to pronounce his first name wrong because I don't want to be rude. I don't know if it's Malik or Malik Sanogo. Malik Sanogo. Really a good young striker right now for Union Berlin.
Wow.
I could see like he makes that next step because right now the best American striker at Union Berlin is Jordan Sibachu. And how old's he going to be? I actually don't know.
He's going to be 30.
See, he's on your roster. Fantastic. Thank you.
No,
That
he
was
was
very
on my
helpful.
he was on my
Oh,
provisional.
dang it. I thought I had you on that one. So he's going to be
He didn't
30.
make it.
That's actually not bad. I could see him making because he also should have been on the plane to Qatar. But
Yeah.
so he was on my list too that I was like, oh, maybe. But yeah, I think Sonogo, like in 4 years, like anything's possible in 4 years too, is the biggest thing.
Again,
So, like,
this is all for
I like
fun.
to have fun. So Malik Sonogo on my list.
So I have 4 strikers. You had 3. You named 3. And
None of them.
We only got 1.
Oh, we had Pepe, right?
Ricardo Pepe.
Yeah.
He would be 23 at the 2026 World Cup.
So fun. I love that.
Josh Sargent makes mine. I think he was our best striker at this World Cup.
I wish he played more.
He got hurt. I think he would have started against the Netherlands, but he got hurt. So Josh Sargent doing well in the championship. He would be 26. I picked him. Brandon Vasquez for FC Cincinnati. I think the dude has a nice long career ahead of him. He had a breakout year this year. He'd be 28 for the 2026 World Cup. I really like Brandon Vasquez. Again, dual national. Maybe he falls into the Balogun category of if he picks the United
if he picks us
over Mexico, then I would want him on this team. And my striker number 4, I'm just happy to see him back. Again, recency bias after the banger.
Daryl DK.
Daryl DK.
Boom, bam, hell yeah.
26 for the 2026 World Cup.
That's a good one.
So I
was debating on him. I was like, I could see it. I could really see it, but I could also not. And that's the worst part because I love Daryl DK so much.
My roster spots 25 and 26, I debated on with so many players. Again, in this made-up world, because you want to try to project out how these careers are going to go.
Oh, I think I missed a number on mine. I do have one more.
Go for it. Name it.
Paxton Aronson.
Yes. Yeah. Aronson was on my provisional
Aronson
list.
and Aronson. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the last one because my 2 cuts were not Paxton Aronson.
Honestly,
the brothers.
You can give me Paxton Aronson over Tanner Tessman, move Weston McKennie into like the lower block and have Brendan and Paxton in like the higher midfield position.
How sick would that be?
I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it.
In a game in Philly. Imagine.
But my final 2 spots, 25 and 26, I filled with DK and Paredes after
I like that
so much. You don't need 4 strikers on a World Cup.
No,
but
but it's fun.
4. I picked 4. That was fun. That was way more enjoyable and a lot more names than I thought we'd get different, but I think it was fun.
Oh, I have one more last cut. A winger, Alex Mighton. He's a England.
You went deep, bro.
I love Alex Mighton though. I think he's really good.
What FM save did you learn about him from?
17, probably. I don't know. Maybe he was on that one. He might not have been. He's like 20, but he's an England and US dual international, but he plays for Nottingham Forest, and they didn't send him on loan in hopes of using him this season after they bought 25 players or something. So I don't know.
Typical.
But yeah, typical Nottingham Forest. So I'm hoping that he gets a loan move, and then I hope he decides to pick America. It sounds wrong, but I hope he does. Like I hope him and Florian Balogun, because didn't we do that with Musa? Everyone just flooded him with American flags on his Instagram page until he picked us.
We flooded Pepe. We
flooded Pepe.
We flooded Ochoa, even though
that didn't work.
Yeah, cool.
I respect Ochoa though for like not doing it.
We've had the conversation before on this podcast. The dual national conversation decision is very difficult for players.
Yes.
I absolutely respect which way you go.
Yep.
Obviously, though, I wish
as an American,
I always hope the talent picks America.
Yes, 100%.
All right,
the guys who aren't quite good enough, you guys can pick the other country though.
Aaron Johansson, go back to Iceland. See you.
Oh God, I forgot about him. Was he still alive? He's got to be. He's still playing. I know he's still alive.
32, still plays.
That's it.
All right.
Sam, how old's my best man, Mix? Is Mix still alive too?
He's
probably like 40.
I think he's playing in Cyprus.
I love that. That's good knowledge.
I think. Can we
get? We're gonna confirm this. I attempted to name my. I'm googling him.
Mixed discrude. What a throwback.
Is that or disappointment? Oh, it hurts. Yeah, it was a joke. I didn't actually try to name my daughter. 1990 in Cyprus, though. You're absolutely fucking holy shit.
Nay, I nailed it.
So that makes him 32.
Yeah, 32.
Interesting. He could have made the roster. He would have moved the ball progressively.
So,
Sam, would have been a bad idea. I just want to point that out before you finish this. That would have been a bad idea.
Let's close out the episode on Mixed Discrude failing to make the 2022 U.S. men's national team roster.
He scored your first club goal. You can't be mad.
Legend, citizen legend. Sam, it was a pleasure to talk to you again. Make sure you guys go follow Sam at uncle_SamXIII on Twitter. You'll get some NISA news, you'll get some USMNT news, DC United, and you'll get Sam's hot takes about everything that I've seen on there. I keep up with NISA news through you, Sam. So
I do my best.
Sam, is there anything you want to say before we close out the episode?
No, thanks for having me back. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, everything. Because I won't see anyone again for a while. Happy everything.
Happy everything, everyone, and have a great night. We'll talk to you.